What's up, guys? My name is Danny Bellish. This is my wife and business partner, Christine, and we are celebrating our first house hack. Now, a lot of you actually asked us how we analyze our properties, and we thought this was the perfect opportunity to run through the numbers and take you through exactly how we decided this was a good opportunity for us.
So first things first, let's actually talk about what a house hack is. So a house hack is when you purchase a multi-family property, you live in one of the units, and then you rent out the other unit or units to help lower your living expenses. So basically, the rental income that you're collecting helps pay against the expenses that you're incurring while you own the property, like principal, interest, taxes, insurance, all that good stuff. So let's dive into the numbers. First things first, let's talk about the purchase price. The purchase price for this property is $622,000. It's a two-family, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm gonna let Danny hop in and talk about the purchase price.
So this might seem pretty high, especially to a lot of you real estate investors talking about house hacking, but this is a little bit of a special circumstance. It's a 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom house with a fully finished basement, a large backyard, and an oversized 2-car garage in an A market area that we really wanted to live in.
Yeah.
So this might seem like a higher price tag than you might be used to, but it was the right fit for us and the numbers still worked out. So that's why we decided to move forward.
So let's talk about our upfront out-of-pocket costs. So the first thing that we needed to consider when running our numbers to decide whether this was a good investment or not is the down payment. In this case, the down payment is going to be 15%, so it's $93,300. And I just want to talk quickly about that 15%. So a lot of people hear 20%, 20%, 20%, you have to put down 20%. In this circumstance, the reason why we put down 15% is because that's the least amount that our conventional lender would allow us to put down on this multi-family property that we're going to be owner occupying. So if we were buying this 2-family as just an investment property, we would have to put down 25%. So that's another benefit to house hacking. Living in your investment property is that you can put down a lower down payment up front. The other out-of-pocket cost that we have to pay is the closing costs, and those add up quickly. So in our circumstance, they're going to be around $15,000, and that includes title costs, attorney fees, mortgage fees, upfront insurance that you have to pay a year in advance, taxes, escrow, all that great stuff. So if we add the $93,300, which is our down payment, plus the $15K, that leaves us with $108,300 out of pocket, which is a really important number to keep in mind that we're going to refer back to later on when we come up with our calculation.
So the next thing that we want to focus on are the fixed monthly costs. So this is what's going to really factor into where your cash flow comes from, obviously your expenses. So everybody accounts for taxes and insurance, but sometimes when you're watching these videos and you do a breakdown and analysis of the actual deal, you don't see all of the costs included, but we really like to be conservative when we run our numbers. So we include things like water and sewer, and then what everybody should account for if you're a real estate investor is maintenance, CapEx, and vacancy. CapEx is capital expenditures, and those are your large ticket items. That could be anything from your roof or your boiler or your furnace, things that end up costing a lot of money that you have to account for. Now, people set aside anywhere from 5 to 25% of gross monthly rents for maintenance, CapEx, and vacancy. We decided to do 10% because we're going to be living at the property, so vacancy we know is going to be low, and we're going to be handling all of the maintenance ourselves, so we feel really comfortable at a 10% level.
And honestly, that 10% is even conservative because we didn't mention this yet, but this property is super turnkey. We had the pleasure and we were lucky enough to actually meet the sellers of this property.
Shout out to John and Sharon.
Yeah, they're so sweet. They're really nice people. But when we actually went to go see the second unit of this property, we got to meet the owners. And the woman actually used to be a previous realtor. So she definitely knows, how to improve the value of a home. They took care of it. They maintained it properly. They also updated it over time. They also in the past actually lived there themselves as owner occupants. I don't know if they knew it was house hacking or whatever it was called before our time, but that's what they did. So as owner occupants, obviously, they have more invested in the property because it's their home too. So they really took great care of it, but we want to be responsible. We know that over time things break down. So we're going to put aside the 10% today just in case something happens down the line.
So just to round out the rest of the expenses, of course you have your mortgage, so your principal and your interest. We got a phenomenal interest rate because interest rates are super low right now, so make sure you're taking advantage and you're talking to your lenders. So ours came out to $21.94 a month. And then lastly, in most circumstances, if you're putting down less than 20%, you're likely going to pay private mortgage insurance or PMI. Again, with the low entry point to a mortgage these days, PMI is also super low. So we're only paying $88 a month for our PMI. So the total monthly payment is $3,586. That doesn't account for the $495 for maintenance, CapEx, and vacancy, which we will take into account later.
So let's get on to the more fun stuff, which is the income.
Yay.
Yay.
The happy part.
Yeah, the happy part. So right here we have listed out the rents for both of the units. The unit 1 rent, so that's actually the first floor unit. That's the one that Danny and I are going to be moving into. So obviously while we're living there, we're not going to be collecting that rent, but we did want to use this as a benchmark and a starting place. There were tenants that were living there only a few months ago, and they were paying the $27.50 just to rent the first floor without the basement. So the first floor is 3 beds, 2 baths. It has a living area, it has like a den area, eat-in kitchen, and laundry. Access to the backyard, the garage, driveway, etc. But what we're planning on doing after we move out is to rent the first floor along with the basement. So the basement has an additional full bathroom, 2 more living spaces, and a kitchenette. So just keep that in mind, this number $27.50 plus the additional access of the basement. So we think we're actually going to be able to increase this rent when we move out after the year. Unit 2 rent is $2,200, and the good news here is that we were actually lucky enough to buy this place with a tenant already in place in the second floor unit. So second floor unit is 3 bed, 1 bath. They have access to a walk-up attic. The tenant has been there for 2 years already. We know that she wants to stay. But another thing that I wanted to just mention about this one is the tenant is currently month to month. We're going to switch her over to an annual lease and increase that rent too a little bit, because this is a little bit under market rent, especially because utilities are included. So we have some room to grow in this rent area once we move out. But the total monthly rent as of today, what it could be, is $49.50 a month, which is almost $5,000. Not too shabby.
And we'll do another video on how to screen your tenants, because nothing is more important to the lifeblood of a real estate multifamily business than your tenants. So we'll do another video taking you guys all through that. Now to get to the real side, the analysis side. So we have all of our numbers. Now what do we do with it to figure out if this is a good deal or not? So this is our house hacking situation. So the way that it works, as Christine mentioned, is for the first year, we're actually going to be living in the property. And then in the second year, when we move out and we fill it with a tenant, then that's going to be the real cash flow situation. So while we're living there, these are going to be our expenses. So you have your $35.86, your total monthly payment, plus your maintenance, CapEx, and vacancy, minus the rent that we're going to be collecting from the second floor tenant. So our payment is going to come to $1,881 a month. Now, a lot of you real estate investors around the country might say that that is that is a bit high, but for Christine and I, we came from living in Jersey City in a 800 square foot apartment paying $3,000 a month. So for us to be able to upgrade to a 3 bed, 2 bath, full basement, backyard, garage in a neighborhood that we really like, and be saving $1,200 a month, that was a huge, huge win for us. And we knew that this was only the first year of a long buy and hold process where we were going to see massive returns on our investment.
Yeah, so this to us is a great deal. Maybe to other people, you know, that it might not be up your alley. Different people have, you know, different thresholds, different numbers that they look for when they decide whether it's a good investment or not. But especially for us to be in the neighborhood that we wanted, the fact that it's turnkey, so much more space, including outdoor space, which is so important these days, especially during Corona times. This is a big win for us, and we're really excited. It's going to be more space than we know what to do with.
So getting into year 2, this is where that cash flow scenario ends up being super important. So as Christine mentioned, for unit 1, the previous rent of $2,750 did not include the basement. So now that we'll be able to include the basement, we ran all of our comps, and we safely think that we'll be able to get $3,000 for that unit. For unit 2, again, $2,200 is a bit under market rent. We think we'll be able to raise that rent, get her into an annualized lease, and charge $2,400 a month, bringing our total for year 2 to $5,400 a month in rent roll.
So then if we want to calculate what our year 2 cash on cash return is going to be, we're going to take how much rent we're collecting each month, which is the $5,400. We're going to subtract our monthly expenses. So we're back to the $3,586 that we calculated here, our total monthly payment. We're also going to subtract the $495 for the maintenance, vacancy, and capex, and that leaves us with not $13,000, I wish, $1,319 a month that we're going to net. That's not too shabby either.
Right, that's nothing to balk at.
Yeah.
Think about an extra $1,319 in your pocket every single month. That's 2 car payments, that's a mortgage payment in a lot of people's scenario. So that's going to help us continue our business moving forward. Now, what you really want to do is you want to annualize that so that you're seeing how much you make in a given year given that cash flow. And the total comes out to $15,828 a year. Now, what we want to do is, in order to calculate what type of return this is going to get for us, when we do our rentals, we use the cash on cash return method. Other people can use a cap rate or other different types, but when you're running a business, we like to use cash on cash, meaning the cash that we laid out in order to buy this investment at the very beginning, the $108,300, and using the cash flow, the actual profit that we'll make at the end of every year. And the return comes to 14.6%. So for us, that's huge. That's better than any savings account you can ask for. That's better than a lot of these money market accounts and indexes that you're seeing, especially with the volatility right now. So we are extremely happy to be able to see a 14.6% return.
Yeah, and that doesn't take into consideration any of the depreciation that we get in our taxes, any of the write-offs, appreciation over time, because this neighborhood, while it's an A-class neighborhood, like definitely is still up and coming to a certain extent. So we do still think that there's room for growth there. That also doesn't increase, minimal annual rent increases. So this number is our year 2 number, but it's only going to grow. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and excited about our first house hack.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys learned something here today. If you have any other questions, definitely let us know. Shoot us an email at info@thebellishteam.com. Follow us at The Bellish Team on Instagram and Facebook. Christine is a social media maven, and you will love everything that she has to post. But thanks for watching, and tune in for the next one.
Thanks, guys.
If this video was helpful, please let us know in the comments section and by liking the video and subscribing to our channel.